But staying with the Eid celebrations, Muslims in Abuja joined thousands across the country to mark the end of the holy month of Ramadan with special prayers. Besides the prayers, however, they're also asking Nigerians to imbibe the lessons of Ramadan, which they say include showing love to the less privileged, forbearance and tolerance. Some Muslims in Jahi village, a suburb of Abuja, say they believe the special prayers mark the end of Ramadan will usher in peace for the country.
For 1 month, Muslim faithful embarked on a compulsory fasting in adherence to the injunction in the Holy Quran. This religious ritual was ended with a special prayer marking the end of the holy month of Ramadan. Here in Jahi village, a suburb of Abuja, the festivities after the prayers was low-key. Even at that, one thing is clear. The lessons of Salah is fresh in their minds.
When you know say you do Salah or fasting, that time you stop partying. As now Salah start, nothing says Salah don't come now. Salah fasting don't go. You go see back to that party when they know anything what you do. When you know say you do that or you are thief or you are drinking or you are all that one stop. No good. When Allah say may not do that again.
Me at the bus people, anybody making no say God now one. So it be they pray, whether it be Muslim, whether it be Christian, you know say God now one. So even to fasting it just finish safe. If the fasting don't finish safe, you go try to pray with your God.
Others believe that both the prayers and virtues of the Ramadan fasting would save Nigeria from the crisis of insecurity and poverty.
A month set aside for Muslims to pray and to get the reward. Even there's a night that is more than 1,000 nights in the whole world, that you pray and God will answer your prayer. That's why this month, it seems every Muslim, they forgive, they give. A lot of giving is there. They help the poor. You could see a lot of food is coming out for people. So it's a very special month for Muslim, Ramadan. The lesson of Ramadan is that we have been able to start ourselves whole month. People should be patient with what you want to do. You should be your brother's keeper. They should be able to help people who they are better off than them. And it's not just for this month, it should continue. Because if we are brother's keeper, we don't believe that Nigerians should not have anything like poverty. Because we have enough to go around. There's very few people are having it and many are not having it. So if we are brother's keeper, I think the country will be good for all of us. It should not stop for this Ramadan. It should continue.
The prayers and festivity that accompany the holy month of Ramadan may have come and gone, but Muslims believe that the positive effects of those activities are far-reaching.
While the Eid celebrations were ongoing, Channels Television was holding a world press conference on its partnership with the management of Deutsche Welle television Germany. The events, which held at Channels Television headquarters here in Lagos, was attended by the Director General of DWTV, Mr. Peter Lindborg, and other representatives from Germany. Chairman and Chief Executive Officer of Channels Television, Mr. John Momo, is confident that this partnership, which is aimed at spreading reportage from the African point of view, will be a very beneficial one.
The first step is the signing and sealing of the broadcast partnership between Channels Television and Deutsche Welle in Germany. DWTV team arrives Channels Television in Lagos, Nigeria, to further solidify the partnership. The partnership, like the partnership Channels Television has with the Voice of America, is all about telling all sides of the African stories. At the World Press event taken live on Channels Television, the chairman and CEO, Mr. John Momo, mentioned that the partnership is another feather added to the cap of the station, especially in terms of programming.
The collaboration spans through a couple of programs, particularly the environment, which is one thing that is very dear to our heart. So the whole idea is to be able to tell our stories, and working with DW to bring African stories to the wider society, to Europe and to the rest of the world. And this is something that we're starting very, very soon with DW. This is a great day for us. We were in Bonn recently. We went through the signing ceremony. And so to further expatiate to the point of the impact that we'll have on our viewers is the fact that, because of the fact that we have production from this end and having input into what's happening on Deutsche Welle, you're able to see the reportage from the African point of view and from the African perspective, which hitherto is not what you get.
Mr. Peter Limburg is the Director General of DWTV. In his response to a few questions from journalists at the press conference, he states that the Nigerian view in Germany will expand the knowledge of Germans on the country's environment and business nature and other aspects.
We from Deutsche Welle, we think that with every problem Africa has, this is not enough to report. One has to report the great things that are happening in Africa. One has to see all the chances which are going on here and what opportunities you have in this great continent, and especially in Nigeria, with so many people and so many people who are dedicated to change their life and make it a better one.
That investors seem to be taking a deal.
Already, Channels Television has been featuring reports from the German stock market on its business programs. Loretta Chiogo, Channels Television News.
In other news, a former national security advisor may not have expected that he would not join others at the prayer ground today, but that was the case for him. Colonel Dasuki was placed under house arrest by the new Director General of the DSS, preventing him from going out to join in the celebrations of the Eid. This cat and mouse game has been on for about a week now, and for the People's Democratic Party, the act is unconstitutional. The PDP's Publicity Secretary, Mr. Olisame 2, who was prevented from seeing Colonel Dasuki today, said the siege laid on his Abuja residence is typical of a military regime. He accused President Muhammadu Buhari of going the way of dictators, saying this latest move is targeted at discrediting those who worked with the past administration.
I drove to his house as a personal friend to see him and to find out what is happening. Then about 7 or 8 security operatives came out and they said that I cannot see him because the house is under security watch. And I asked them, security watch in terms of treason or in terms of terrorism or what? I need to know. And they said they're not in a position to say. And why I ask this question is that if it's under security watch on account of corruption, on account of any other reason, then it's totally against the constitution of this country. Because this is the democracy and the democratic tenets and principles apply. The fact that we deserve basic freedom, liberty, and movement associated with democracy. The truth is that Nigerians are getting scared.
The PDP's Publicity Secretary, Mr. Olisame 2, reports reaching us say the Department of State Services has vacated the residence of Colonel Dasuki, but there are reports that his international passport is still being held by the service. The DSS operatives left his home this evening after a 24-hour siege on his premises. A source close to the former National Security Advisor told journalists this evening that though his premises has been vacated, he is still being prevented from participating in the celebration of Ramadan. Colonel Dasuki has vowed to challenge the action of the DSS in court in order to enforce his fundamental human rights. Meanwhile, it has been gathered that legal and diplomatic processes initiated by the former National Security Advisor have ensured that cash seized by the South African government during the cash for arms saga last year have been fully recovered by Nigeria. President Muhammadu Buhari has approved the appointment of Mr. Abdullahi Gana Muhammadu as the new Commandant General of the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps, the NSCDC. Mr. Muhammadu succeeds Mr. Ade Abolurin, who has retired from service. Before his new appointment, Mr. Muhammadu was an Assistant Commandant General of the NSCDC. He holds a BSc in Sociology from the University of Sokoto and a Master's in Law Enforcement and Criminal Justice from the Ahmadu Bello University in Zaria. It's also been a sad day in Anambra State. 32 people were killed. 32 unclaimed victims, beg your pardon, of the May 31st petrol tanker accident at Opa Iweka, who were burned beyond recognition, were laid to rest in a mass grave at Obosi Cemetery in Idembele North Local Government area. The burial, authorized by the government of Anambra State, drew sympathizers from all quarters, including government functionaries present to witness the ceremony. Addressing the gathering, Anambra State's Governor Willie Obiano lamented the loss and says the state took the decision to bury the victims after the bodies were unclaimed despite calls for relatives to come forward to claim them. He used the opportunity to caution heavy-duty truck drivers to drive carefully while banning delivery of petroleum products during the day time in the state. Work will soon begin on the Badagry Deep Sea Port. The project, which covers a large expanse of land, is half a kilometer away from the historic Badagry slave route. The Lagos State Governor, Mr. Akinwumi Ambode, who made the announcement, also directed the contractor handling the Mile 2 Badagry Road expansion project to ensure its timely completion. Our correspondent, Kelvin Obeton, reports.
Considering the economic importance of the Mile 2 Badagry Expressway and the light rail project, Governor Akinwumi Ambode is visiting the project site to ascertain the level of work done. Both projects are believed to have been delayed for long, and Governor Ambode promises to fully mobilize the contractor to ensure they are completed on time.
The Mile 2 Badagry Express Road is very important to all of us. And like we said, it is a project that we must finish. It's a project that I would like to be completed within the shortest possible time. So I'd like to see greater work done on the road project itself. On the rail project, like he has said, we are going to mobilize immediately and see that what has been done between Mile 2 and the National Theatre is continued up to Marina. And within the next 12 months, we should be able to use whatever it is that has been done from Mile 2 to Marina. So what we expect is, notwithstanding there is rain or whatever, immediate mobilization should be done, and then the contractor should also increase the pace of work.
The governor also inspected the site of the proposed Badagry Seaport. The seaport project covers over 1,000 hectares of land, about 500 meters from the point of no return. But a major challenge is how to resettle affected communities.
What we want to do to make sure that the people are happy with the project is to make sure that we resettle them. We discuss with them, engage them, and they have all agreed to move to where we proposed for them. The land area we are looking at for resettlements is 350 hectares, and we know that Your Excellency is going to approve that in very due course.
We are going to have the largest cargo container port in Africa situated in Badagry. That means a lot for us in terms of employment. It means a lot also for us in terms of new settlements. Like has been said, we hope that in the next 2 months we are coming to start this project here.
Besides boosting tourism in the area, both the seaport and the Mile 2 Badagry Road expansion are expected to provide developmental benefits to the state when completed. Kelvin Obetin, Channels Television News.
Still ahead on the news at 10 is Business News Plus. Former President Olusegun Obasanjo wants more focus on education. Please join us again.